Are you currently dating and you've been like, all right, look, we've been dating for a little bit, but I want to know my partner even better? We got something for you. Tell them about it.
Yes, we have the brand new resource called Couple Questions for you and your partner. You can use these questions to get to know each other a little bit better, dive a little bit deeper, ask intentional questions so you can maximize your season as a dating couple. It'll help you decide if we should maybe take that next step into engagement or perhaps part ways.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So click the link in our bio to find out more. What's up, fam? Welcome back to the We Are Just Dating page, where you get wisdom in the word with the Wheelers. We are super excited about today's podcast. So we're actually going to go back and watch an interview we did with someone named Kaley Gray on her YouTube channel. And it's all about, what do you do when everyone around you is dating and you're not? How do you deal with that disappointment? And this is not just for people who are not dating. So if you have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, good for you. But we all are waiting on something. So make sure you stay tuned to this podcast. And we really believe that we are going to encourage somebody who is struggling with their waiting season. They're believing God for something. They haven't seen it come to pass. How do you wait well? How do you grapple with the disappointment that you may have in God with yourself? Make sure you tune in. This is going to be a great episode, and we'll see you on the other side.
We are talking about when everyone around you but yourself is dating. And what's so funny is when we picked this topic, then right after it, like for the last 2 weeks, I told them I had about 10 friends that I saw on social media or just like friends in real life got into relationships. And I was like, okay, God, like, you know, like you're happy for them and you want to celebrate them and you are so excited, but then you're also like kind of bummed for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys, I don't know, what do you have to say on that? Because I mean, I'm encouraging myself and them, but what would you say to somebody that's kind of feeling that way?
Well, first, I got to say respect to you that you're able to encourage other people while you're still trying to encourage yourself. Like, that's awesome. What I'll say is it's okay to be sad because it's tough. It's tough when you see, it's not just dating, right? We can take it to anything in life. It's tough when you see people getting a new home and you want that. It's tough when you see people getting a new job and you want that. That is tough. And emotions are okay. I think sometimes, especially in the church, you can get a little weird with emotions. We don't really talk about that, but God gave us emotions for a reason. We just have to be mindful not to let emotions be our God. And I think a lot of times that's where we get into trouble. It's like, man, I can't feel sad about this because it means I'm ungrateful. No, it just means this is something you care about and you have to make sure that you put it in your proper place. But it's okay to feel how you feel and then make sure that you're able to pick it up and keep moving. Quick story, Kaele, I remember when I was in high school and I got into college, I got to go to the University of Maryland, and my best friend, he's still my best friend to this day, but we both applied to go to UMD. And I remember I got in and he didn't. Now, let me say this. He was a much better student than I. He did much more internships. I didn't do any internships. He did much better grades, better SAT. Everything was better. But for some reason, I got in and he didn't get in. And I remember when I told him, Kaele, he was trying so hard to not break down in tears and just be sad. And he said, even though it was super somber, he was like, congratulations. Like he was able to still in that moment be happy for his friend because he genuinely was happy, but still at the same time be real and be like, this is tough. And me as a good friend, I realized in that moment, like, I'm not going to go extra like, like, no, this,
rub it in his
I'm not going to rub it in his face. I get that it's tough. Now, 2 years later, he ended up getting in Maryland and that was great. But
maybe it's because he was happy for you. Or it was a test.
That may be a word.
I don't know.
You may be waiting. And you just need to show others your gratitude. That's something we want to do. When we are believing for something, it's like, okay, how can we serve? How can we sow a seed this season? And not sit around and be jealous, but find a way to help people. Mike Todd, from where you are in Tulsa, he has this whole thing about when you're waiting, it's not just sitting around waiting, all right, God, where are you? But it's waiting. You putting like a towel over your hand like a waiter. It's like, how may I serve you? So that's really good. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, so good. I mean, how do I follow up that?
You got it.
It's okay, I don't have to. But yeah, I think that is so important, is to, I love the acknowledgement of your emotions because like you said, they're not our decision maker, and you can't honestly control them, but you can control them coming, but you can control where they go next or your actions. So they don't have to, determine the words that come out of your mouth or the actions that you take, even though you still feel them. But I think it's definitely harder for us women, when we're seeing like our friends, because like it's kind of like the whole story of like always a bridesmaid, never a bride, and like even the movie 27 Dresses, that whole thing, like, okay, like I've sewn, I've supported my friends, like I planned her proposal with her fiance, like I pretty much did all of this, and like, kind of God, like where is mine? And I think you always have to remember, number one, that God is not withholding anything from you. Yes. There's a verse that talks about that. There are a couple times in the Bible that says God doesn't withhold anything from those who walk uprightly. He withholds no good thing. And it's just remembering, like, Lord, if this verse is true, which I know it is because it's in your word, even though my situation, it doesn't feel like that, I don't see it with those eyes. If this is true, that means that if it was best for me to be in a relationship right now, that is exactly where I would be. And it might change tomorrow. We have to have that type of hope. The Bible talks about that hope is an anchor for our soul. And sometimes we look at our friends and we're like, man, like I'm never going to get a relationship, or I'm never going to get that house, or I'm never going to get this job. And that's not true. The enemy wants to steal our faith. So if you guard your faith, guard your hope, and you can say, man, I wish that I had, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or I wish that I was being married or whatever. I wish that I was getting the ring. And if you remember that, God's not withholding anything from you, that he's good and that he loves you and he's for you and he's protecting you, then you can kind of take a little bit more of a breather and remember, like your time is coming. I know for me, whenever I see friends, because this happens to us, we're only been married 3 years, we have a baby, we're believing to get a house, but it's not something that you want to move around, kind of haphazardly and just kind of jump in the first opportunity that you see. The same thing, you don't want to just find anybody on the internet and marry them. You want to make sure that it's a quality, God's best for you. But whenever we see, a friend who buys a house, we always say, okay, Lord, you did it for them, you can do it for us. We serve the same God. So in a way, it can be encouraging, because it can be kind of discouraging if you look around and you're like, dang, none of my friends are married. Am I in good company? Like, am I kind of in the right kind of location? Like, it's a good thing to be around people who have what you want or who are where you want to be, because you can learn from them, knowing that, like, okay, my time is going to come. So you have to flip it and like teach yourself how to make it an encouraging season when it's around you.
I love that. That's so good. I always say, like, if you can't celebrate others, then you don't deserve to be celebrated. So if you can't celebrate somebody in a season that you want to be in, then, you're maybe not ready to be in that next season. So this question is I'm going to ask Tim, because I don't always have a lot of guys on the channel. So a guy's perspective, like, do you feel pressure from your bros, like when they're all getting in back to your single self, not now, but like when your bros are all getting into a relationship and things like that? Do guys feel that pressure that, like, oh man, like I need to get into a relationship, or are you cool just like hanging by yourself, or if they're all getting engaged? I always guys think so differently, and I don't even try to understand how y'all think. So I'm like, because I know as a girl, like, we feel that pressure. You're like, oh, all my friends are getting into relationships, like I need to like get into a relationship so we can double date and do things. But do guys feel that way?
Yeah, great question. I'll say it depends. So probably most guys, no, they're not going to feel that pressure. But there are some guys that I know, and myself included, when I was single, you want to be in a relationship. So it's like, man, am I ever going to find, it's not so much will I ever be in a relationship, because I feel like as a guy, it seems like you have a little more control over it, in the sense that you can go ask, you won't look crazy. But there's some guys like, man, will I ever find the right woman? But there's a lot of guys who, for whatever reason, they aren't really pressed to start dating. They're kind of okay in the season they are, or they're trying to build, their income, or they're trying to work on this and work on that. So they're kind of content not dating. So honestly, I think it depends on the guy and what they value and what they're looking for.
That's good. I like that. Okay. Did you ever, like, in your single season, when other people are around you guys, did you guys ever think that something was wrong with you? Or have you ever, like, you know, met with people? Because I mean, there's times that I've felt that way, especially, like, you know, if you're on the dating apps and then, like, you like them and they don't like you back and you're like, why don't you like me? You know, sort of thing. So, you know, do you have anything that you would want to share on that? Like, what's wrong with me? Because so many people have that doubt. They question that in their mind. Like, and so I know it's a lie from the enemy, but what can you say to encourage somebody that might be feeling that way?
I think this is so funny because the first thing I thought about with this question is there's something wrong with everybody.
So true.
Like, the marriage, and maybe it's easier for me to say that because I am married, but I think, like, just the more that I grow, and, like, there's people who are single who are the best, and they're like, what's wrong with me? Like, once I fix X, Y, and Z, then maybe I'll be, like, ready for marriage and God will bring my spouse. And then I'm like, but there's so many people who are married who are jacked up. And, like, there's no, like, there's no kind of, like, oh, so that's why you're married. There's I get it. Yeah, there's no like, kind of reason. Just, like, you're a married person and you're a single person. Like, it doesn't mean you're any more wise, you're any more godly, you're any more healthy, you're any more whatever, insert blank, because you're married. It simply just makes you a married person. And there's so many married people, unfortunately, who want to be single, and, like, you know, vice versa. And, you know, that's, you know, our heart is when people date better, date healthy, that you would be and build a marriage that you want to stay in forever. The idea is not that you just rush and get a ring and fly down the aisle just to say you did it, because you look up in a couple of years and, like, you know, are you going to want to still be there? And that's very much, I think, something people don't talk about and contributes to the high divorce rate in and outside of the church. But so all that to say, if you think there's something wrong with you, I would say you're right, because there's something wrong with all of us. And that's, you know, we thank God for his son, Jesus. That's why we all need a savior. If we all were perfect, we wouldn't need the Lord. But if you are aware of your weaknesses, that's awesome. Like, allow the Lord to fill your gaps and community and all those things. I don't think that that's necessarily the lies, that there's something wrong with you and that's why you're not married. I think that, no, you should know the truth. And the truth is that what is wrong with you is not keeping you from God's best. Because, you know, the Bible says that there's nothing that can separate us from the love of God. And the type of love that hopefully everybody that's watching this wants is the love that is, you know, from the Lord in your marriage. And there's nothing keeping you from God's love at all, as we talked about previously. So don't beat yourself up. The enemy, that's what he wants to do, is to steal your confidence and make you go into a hole and, like, get depressed and say about yourself, like, oh, no one wants to marry me because XYZ things are wrong with me. And I used to do that. I remember I struggled with the confidence a lot in middle school. I used to be literally keeping lists of, like, this is why nobody wants to, like, date me or be with me or whatever. And it was like, a lot of those things, you know, are still present to this day. I'm too tall, I'm too big, I'm too this, I'm too that. And, like, I'm still married, you know what I mean? So it's not
yes,
really...
you is, girl. Yes, you is.
Oh,
girl.
my gosh. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you at all. In that sense, when it comes to getting married. And I think that it's a good thing to accept and love yourself, because when you do get married, you're going to learn that there's a lot of things wrong with your spouse. And if you don't love them and cover them the same way you love yourself, it's going to be really difficult to have a joy-filled marriage. And the Bible talks about us loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. So now you have the opportunity to work on the loving yourself part so that you can love your spouse better.
Yeah, that was good.
That was so good.
That was good.
I was like, literally, I just was like, I can see, like, thank you, God, for connecting us, because I'm, like, just, like, spitting fire. Like, I'm just like, this is amazing. I love this. Wow. Well, to wrap up today's vlog, is there anything that you guys just have on your hearts that you want to share to singles or those dating or stuff like that, or before we wrap up?
Yeah, and it kind of ties into everything that we've been talking about. And I just really think that we all have to learn, myself included, it's all a journey, We have to learn to really trust God.
Yeah.
We have to learn to really trust God. And what I mean by that is reminding ourselves that his word is true. And like Pauline's been saying all day, God will not withhold anything good from us. And God has no favorites, though his Bible, the word says
we're
that.
all his favorites.
Yeah, so I think when we realize that we can trust God, it's a lot easier to swallow the pill of I don't have what I want yet. Because it's like, okay, if I don't have it yet, that must mean it's not time yet.
Yeah.
I can think back clearly to a year and a half ago when I was looking for a new job.
Yeah.
And it was like a 2-3 year period where I was really looking for a new job. I really wanted to get out of the job I was in. I was applying to every job, getting declined by every job. I honestly started asking myself, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And I really thought, like, do I not know how to interview? Do I not know the right people? And it came to a point where I was like, God, I trust you. Clearly, since every door is closing and I've gone and done mock interviews with people and they told me nothing's wrong, clearly you want me here in this role.
Yeah.
So if you want me in the season that I'm in, show me how to embrace it to the fullest, to learn what I need to learn in this season. And then I trust that you'll take me out of this season. And I just hope that whoever's listening to this, you'll find a place of contentment in whatever season you're in, whether it's singleness, whether it's waiting for a new job, no matter what it is, you'll come to a season of contentment and surrender.
Yeah.
Because remember, God has better plans for us than we do. But I think a lot of times we don't really believe that. We believe our
We're trying
plans.
to coach God and tell him what to do.
Yes, our plans are better.
Yeah.
God knows everything. See, I'm starting to get on a rabbit trail, but I'm getting excited, Kaley. The thing about God is he's not just thinking about what will be good for Tim next month, what will be good for Tim next year. He's playing chess. We're trying to play checkers. He's looking 10 years from now. Yes. He's looking 10 years from now. If Tim got this job, how would this affect his destiny? How would this affect him meeting this person who could teach him this, which could help him get here, which could help him do that?
Yeah.
So it's not just that I'm single, it's that I am not necessarily ready for whatever God has for me, or the person I'm waiting for has not come of age yet. They're not ready. They're still learning. They're still developing. And that's the great thing about God is he'll bring the person you're waiting for at the right time, because the right thing at the wrong time is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So we have to trust God and trust that if it's not here yet, it's for a reason, and it's a good reason.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a really, really good episode. And I believe that if you trust God and wait for his timing, that whatever he has for you is going to be better than you ever thought, asked, or imagined. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. We will see you guys next week on the W Podcast.